Welcome to CASTEM. We're a career-based high school where students get to learn about careers like global logistics and engineering. Let's check it out. At CASTEM, there's an advisory committee where students get together with the principal to share ideas for new classes or groups.
I really feel like I have a voice here at CASTEM because I've been picked to be part of a superintendent meeting. And I talked to the superintendent about our school and about what improvements we could have. And when it comes to talking to the principal and the staff, they are pretty, they listen to us.
I feel like a lot of the students here have really enjoyed that kind of environment to be able to have their voice spoken and people that really understand them.
Here at CASTEM, we take learning pretty seriously. That's why we do PBLs, so we can prepare students for real-world challenges and problems.
I really enjoy CAS and I really enjoy the opportunities and the social impact. My favorite part would be the PBLs because we get to look at the countries and problems and we get to solve it in our own different kind of way. And it's pretty cool seeing how everyone can get their own ideas and solutions and build prototypes. It's really cool for me.
Did you know CAS students earn up to 2 years of college credit and industry certifications? Robotics and engineering are only a couple of the hands-on opportunities at CASTEM.
Honestly, I love everything about CAS because usually in normal high school or my old middle school, we do the same thing every day. But here in CAS, we do different things. And most of the stuff are hands-on activities, and I love hands-on activities because it engages the student and it makes us be able to learn more.
At a normal high school, you might see people putting books in these, but instead, we're issued Chromebooks.
In robotics class, we learn about putting our robots together and what we could do to our PBLs. So we could use parts from there. My last PBL, we implemented them and I put it into my project. So I got parts and I made different things for sewers and stuff like that to help the planet. So we were figuring out new ways. So they help us implement that.
I feel like CAS really prepares you for life because in other schools you would just go to reading, writing, math class, regular stuff, but in here you kind of relate to reality and it can really get you prepared for when you get actually in the workforce or you actually get out in life. When I tell other students or from people from other schools how the CAS experience is I like to tell them about what we have and what we do and what we learn and the fun experiences we have in the school and all the kind of stuff we can learn and really experience and how we learn through PBLs and professionals and teaching moments and how we go out and actually get to experience careers and stuff like that.
Well, that's our tour for CASTEM. I hope you enjoyed. Later.
Hi everybody, I'm Jen Maestas and I work for the CAS Schools Network and I'm super excited to be sitting here amongst these wonderful colleagues at CASTEM High School in Southwest ISD. I'm excited because I love talking about education. It is literally my favorite thing to do. I started my education career in San Antonio ISD 22 years ago, teaching 5th grade. I've since been an instructional coach, an assistant principal, a principal, and now I am the community and educator engagement manager for the CAS Schools Network, which is a really fun thing to do because I get to bring educators together to build some community and then just to tell their stories. I think telling education story is really important. I think it's important because we are facing a lot of big challenges in the education industry right now because of the pandemic. And because of the working conditions of teachers across the nation, everybody is thinking about this. It's at the forefront of their minds. And it's good. I have good news tonight. We're here to tell a really good story about our teacher preparation program and the successes that are happening here at CASTEM. And so you are going to be able to enjoy the conversation that we have tonight, both live here on the platform. Later on, it's being recorded. So if you are joining us later, we're glad you're here. And then it'll be also part of my podcast series, Miseducation. So I'm excited to bring these stories to you tonight and to hear from these wonderful, powerful women who are educating high schoolers here in Southwest ISD. And without further ado, I want them to take a second to introduce themselves by way of just kind of telling us your story. Like, how did you get to where you are in the education field, and specifically sitting here at this table? Who are you? How did you get here? So who's going to kick us off tonight?
I think I should start just because my name is Julie Ashton Riedel, and I am a professor in residence. I retired 4 years ago from public education. I've been a teacher for 24 years and an administrator, and I was looking for something new and exciting. I really had some connections with A&M and started just talking to them, and this really great opportunity that the CAST Network had created, which was a partnership with A&M to help develop teachers, was available. And so I applied, and I was very fortunate in obtaining the position, and through the work with Dr. Residency and Dr. Shaeffer, who have been totally promoted, our wonderful classroom, the work of a year-long program has been instrumental, along with the ISCP, which is part of Dr. Munoz at A&M. They're really important to the whole program and the support on the A&M side. The CAST Network was the brainchild, and then creating the partnership here was the fun and the exploration that came as a result of it. So I'm fortunate to be a part of it.
Yeah, I should have mentioned at the top that we're sitting in a classroom that's completely designed.
Yes.
It's co-branded, it's beautiful, and it's designed to make the work of teaching work, which is really cool and exciting. So thanks for being here. Who's next?
I'll go next, Jen. I'm so excited. I've been dying to be like this with you for a long time. So
I'm excited about
super
it.
jazzed to be here. So I'm Ravae Villafranca Shaeffer, and I am a principal here at CASTM. I am very proud and very blessed to be here. This is my 19th month on the job, and I'm blessed every day. So I've been in education for about 25 years, and I love it. And everything I've done, I've loved. And I've never left anything because I didn't like it. I've always ran to something that was a great opportunity. I never, ever wanted to be a principal. And now here I am 19 months later, never wanted to be a principal.
I get that.
But I had a calling really deep inside to build community around kids.
Yeah.
And I sort of had a God wink from some CAST Network folks, and thought, well, let me just throw my hat in the ring. And now I'm here and I get to build community around kids. So truly a blessing for me.
Yes.
Who else? I can go next. I'm Crystal Miles. This is my 11th year teaching, and this is my 4th year with CASTM. So been here since the beginning because I heard that it's something new, something innovative, and just what I needed at the time. I was teaching English in a classroom, teaching books, the same thing every year. And I really wanted the opportunity to do something different and kind of hone in on my skills and see what was next. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
She's an excellent mentor teacher. Excellent mentor teacher.
Thank you.
My name is Bryanna Zamarron. This is my first year teaching. I've worked with kids for about 9 years now. I've worked with Girls League of San Antonio, being a mentor, and then as a program facilitator. I actually went to Southwest High School, McCullough Middle School, Indian Creek Elementary. So coming back to the high school that I went to was something that I always wanted to do, and about the time it was time for me to start my clinical teaching, I was in a meeting and they mentioned CASTM and this opportunity, and I went home and I told my mom, and I was like, Mom, they mentioned CASTM, and oh yeah, and this is what else we talked about in the meeting, and she goes, CASTM, that's at Southwest, and I was like, no, Mom, it's a separate thing, and she was like, no, it's on Southwest campus. It's in the old 9th grade campus, and I was like, well, I'll apply, but I don't know if I'll get it, and I got it, and I'm so glad I did because I got to spend a year doing clinical teaching, which was such a great opportunity. I built so many awesome relationships with the students, and now being able to come back as my first year teacher, having those relationships, it's made my first year teaching smoother than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So that has definitely helped. So.
Awesome, thanks.
So I'll go next. My name is Ariel Hendrick, and I am right at the cusp of graduation. I graduated in May with my special education. So I've been here at CASTM for just under 2 years. And it has been a very long journey. I've been through a lot of education, a lot of trial and tribulations in my life, and my daughters, and building a better life for them, for us. And in one way or another, I've been in education for 7 years, whether it's, as a paraeducator, substitute teaching while I'm still in school, and then now this program has been really instrumental into first year teaching. What's to come, what's next year. It really gives me a solid foundation, what to expect, what I'm comfortable with, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be a teacher already. I'm ready. That's like I tell my fiance, I'm ready, let's go do it. I'm done. I'm done with school.
One of the things that's been really instrumental about this program is that it's really a 2-year program where they come in as field residents, and so they're here part-time, just kind of easing their way into it and getting to know the staff and working with me. And then the second year, they're here full-time as if they are a staff member, but in training and in partnership. So that's one of the innovative ideas that's behind this.
Yeah, I love that, and I love hearing you say you're excited to do this work. It's been a hard couple of years.
It has been.
And it's easy to lose sight of like the exciting parts of teaching, but I do believe that minus the challenges we're currently sitting in, teaching is the absolute best job that you could have, and it's. I can only imagine what it's been like to be in the classroom during a pandemic. I can also only imagine what it's like to train teachers, to be teachers during a pandemic, particularly when we haven't necessarily been face-to-face instruction this whole time. So I'm curious a little bit about how your Texas A&M San Antonio is approaching teacher preparation in general, but also specifically through this. And we keep mentioning this program or the innovation, but what we're really talking about is the partnership that CAST has built with Texas A&M San Antonio to host teachers in residence. So if you are new to the conversation or don't know how teachers generally become teachers, it's usually the teacher in training goes through student teaching, which is just one semester on a campus. And so you don't have a long-standing relationship with the school that you are engaged in student teaching with, generally speaking, and it's short-term and you're not being paid, and it's a lot of work. And so this is really different. This is a different approach, which is why it's innovative. So if you, maybe this is a question for you, Julie, that just talk about what exactly is a teacher residency program?
Well, it begins with, there's multiple pieces. First of all, you need students that want to come and try it. The second part of it is that I'm here about 50% of the time to provide support. I provide support for mentors, I provide support for the principal, and I provide support for students. And what has evolved out of that is that there's been a trickle-down effect, and this branching out of effect of how I can help build relationships across all facets of those relationships. That's number one. The second part of it I think I want to speak to is that the first year, as I said, you can ease into it. They have support. Then they get to know the teachers here, and they have the ability to, it's kind of trial by error, and it's a safe place. And it's okay. Students also know that we're also a training ground, so they're very, very helpful. Very often teachers will say, thank you for being a part of my education in my very first lesson. And usually the kids are really great about cooperating. Yeah, they really are. They really are. So and then the following year, it's a full year, and that's where our partnership with Ms. Shaeffer is so very important, and the mentors is that they are expected to be embedded in as if they are staff members, from swag to PD to going to duty.
Making parent phone calls.
Making parent phone calls. And often mentors will come to me and say, well, I don't know what to do with them. I say, well, you can ask them to make the phone calls for you and say, on behalf of Ms. Maestas, and then this is the information. And it helps them build bigger and better skills. And in the meantime, we have our classroom where we can bring students in. And I've created some partnerships with some students in partnership with them in their teaching, where they also bring students in. So there's a whole lot of levels to it.
Yeah.
Exciting. It's exciting.
Very exciting, and it is really innovative. You pointed out the classroom that we're sitting in is the classroom where you're teaching at the university class, and then you can go out into the hallways and go into the classrooms and put to work what you've just learned. So I know I'm sure people are wondering, like, how did you guys get invited to the table? Ms. Miss Principal here, obvious, right? Teacher here, obvious. But what is your connection to the program?
Well, I have been mentoring since the inception of CASTEM. So our very first year here, 4 years ago, I had 2 field residents in field 1, I think is the terminology. So I had them coming in and out of my classroom, and that was the first time that I ever had to share my space, which is a little bit terrifying because you have to learn to let go. So I didn't just have 1, I had 2 students under me. So that's when it started, and then they transitioned into year 2, which was the full-on student teaching. So by then I think I was a little bit more comfortable, and you get to know them and you get to build those relationships, and then the students tend to be a lot more receptive to them because they've already been here a year.
Yeah.
They already know who they are. So it is a lot easier for them to be comfortable. And then they're learning, everybody's learning, and I'm even learning. I know I went to Miss Riedel quite a few times. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm doing this right. How do I share my lessons? How do I give constructive feedback, right? I'm used to giving feedback to students who may not necessarily always want to talk back. So when it's about developing a teacher, and it's just interesting that I have to reflect on how I say things and to help them grow. So that's been my role. So I've now had 4 teachers or two teachers that I've mentored, and then I have 2 more this year. So
I remember there was a time where I said, you guys have need to push. You're not pushing hard enough. Push a little harder. Push the birds out, and they can fly. And I do you remember that? I remember that was what was in the summertime when it's like, I don't know what to do with them. Push them. Let them take over. Let them take over. And then they were like, but what if?
Coach them. And then it's terrifying, especially when I was teaching English 1. That's a tested grade, so we already feel that pressure, right? I need to perform. My scores need to be high. We want to represent the school, but then I have a brand new teacher that's learning how to become a teacher, and I have to let the reins go. So it's that freak out. But it's knowing that they are prepared. They're learning the content. Ms. Riedel's coaching them. I'm coaching them. They're prepared to succeed. And as a mentor, we have to learn to let go. Like I said, push them out, and they have flown. They're doing amazing
and we
things.
speak the same language because we're always in contact.
I think maybe on the student side, I think just there's so many layers that go into connecting my college coursework, what I learn in class on paper and book, okay, this is what it's supposed to be like being a teacher, right? And then the real world, right? And what does this actually look like? And not only, okay, I have my toolbox of knowledge from the coursework, and then, right, field residency, let me just stick my toes in the water. What does it feel like? Okay, and I get comfortable.
Yeah.
And then it's clinical teaching, and I think that foundation is the image in my mind that I keep going back to is I'm creating relationships with students, with coworkers, with peers, and I'm learning on a professional level how things flow and manage. And it's, and sometimes I do just need to observe and sit back and, okay. And then other times I'm like rolling my sleeves up. Hey, how can I have a coach to go to debrief after this lesson, after a situation, and we talk it out. And sometimes it's, okay, and I remember you spoke to me the first time we had a real conversation. You said, how would you handle the situation in your future classroom? And you stood there in the hallway with me and you really coached me, not as some scary principal lady that like, oh my God, but you were invested in me, and you're invested in the school and the students and in the future of our community. And I saw that, and it was so warming. And I think that's what sticks out to me the most is how supportive this program is. The campus is aware, all the staff were so supportive. They know we're learning, the students know we're learning. We're all just here as a team every day, giving our best. And there are times, I'll leave on this note, there are times that I'm like, 2 years, why did I sign up for this? Because it's rough, there are rough times. But at the end of the day, when the good days, and it's the smiles on the students, or oh my gosh, girl, this day today was crazy, and we just sigh and we walk out to the car, like this beats any other kind of life I could ever imagine. So, yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I unfortunately did not know about this program until I was going to start my clinical teaching. So I had already done my field residency filled residency at Southwest Other High School Legacy. And I had done my field residency there, and that was fun. And I was probably more than likely going to do my clinical teaching there until this opportunity came up. So I was like, sure, I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know what's going on. I get on FaceTime with her because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and she goes, you know what PBL is, right? And I was like, yes. And she was like, let me tell you what PBL is. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. And coming onto this campus and getting to know the teachers who have helped me understand what PBL is in the process and the kind of interactive learning that happens here at CASTEM, and getting to build those relationships made the process smoother, like I had mentioned before, because something I had always freaked out about was a semester is not enough time to like build proper relationships with the students to where I can get like an accurate experience. And that last year when I was clinical teaching, that was proper experience, because there was good times, there was great times, there were some bad times, and I always had Miss Riedel here and I always had Miss Shaeffer there to back me up. I had the teacher that I was with last year, he was going to be out, and I was a little nervous about the behavior of one of the students, and I was like, I don't know if I could do this by myself. And they were like, no, you got this. Yeah. And I did, and I had it, and it was great, and it went well. So, you know, that was just like one little instance, but they've always been there, and I have never, in the beginning, I was a little nervous. In the beginning, I wasn't getting like included in the emails. So I had emailed her and I said, hi, I don't know, I know this isn't the top of your to-do list, but whenever you're free, if you could add me. She's like, no, I'm glad you told me. I'm adding you right now to email list. I am so sorry. Remember, you're one of our staff. You're just one of us. You're just like one of us. And that is how I have felt the whole time. I never felt like, oh, there go the teachers. No, we were included in every meeting and everything that was going on. So it was great.
So Jen, you're really hearing about relationships. I'm getting all emotional right now. I can't even receive it right now. Like, you're hearing the programmatic, right? Like, we're talking about what it looks like to design. But what it feels like we're all part of this family, and we're all part of the same quilt, and we're all coming together and making sure that quilt is keeping kids warm. Like, that is how it functions. And you know, in a family, you're gonna have good, bad, and ugly. And we're all not gonna be our best every day. But the reality of our abilities is that we spend 1 or 2 years together, ideally 2 years together, so that we grow together. So when I make mistakes, because I do, every human is human, right? I make mistakes, and I can call myself out and say, sorry, Z, that was bad on me. Like, I'm going to fix that, but here's what I need to do different, right? And so we can be honest and transparent and get a little further, because we're all going to make mistakes. But what I think is so critical is that we function like a family. So as soon as we know who our 7 interns are, and that's the blessing, we have 7 interns, 14 hands that come to campus regularly. And so we have 7 other adults who are ready to help serve kids. The beauty of the experience is that in a pandemic, 14 hands makes all the difference, because you might have 22 hands that are out. And that's the reality. Any given day. So that's a beautiful thing right now. But what we've been able to build, and Julie, as the professor in residence, we know that there's always going to be a very solid foundation from A&M San Antonio and ISCP right here supporting how we design, how we measure, how we know we're doing well, but we function like a family. And so if there's something that's a need, and if Ms. Maestas has a need and Julie's the right fit, Julie will talk to Crystal, right? If I'm the right fit, I'll talk to Crystal. Whatever is the need, we jump in where we need to. But the beauty is that we can work with folks who love kids, who want to be at CASTEM, who want to be a part of this. Julie treats it like a job interview, and so do I. I'm interviewing for 2 full years. Now, the beauty of that for me is that that's a talent development opportunity. Right?
What are you usually looking for as you're thinking through describe the ideal profile teacher that you're looking for when you're...
There's not a profile, but there's a feeling, right? So the very first thing I want to feel is, absolutely, synergy. Like, do they bring their best strength forward, and do they synergize with this family? If we can get synergy, I can train anything else. I can train you to be a better social studies teacher. I can train you to use, differentiated instruction in the ways that best meet kids' needs, right? But I can't teach, train, or create synergy. So I look for that first. And the beauty is that Julie and I are in alignment on vision and mission and in our strategy. And there's a whole lot of, invisible hand strategy going on all the time across the whole staff. But so we're in alignment all the time. And because we're in alignment, when we're looking for the right talent, to join this opportunity. We know both what we're looking for, and
I
we keep
imagine the
finding it.
alignment is easier because you're in the same place every day. I
It
mean, if
is,
you were
Josh,
back,
it
if you were
is.
back at school and she were here, it would be harder to.
We were virtual for the first
We were
8 months
virtual,
of our relationship.
Actually, as it turns out, we actually worked together years ago
Oh.
when I was a principal and she was
I was at Region
she
20.
was at Region 20.
Oh.
Because I remember thinking, I don't know her. But there's the idea of this inclusivity that's really important. The idea that we are all for the same mission of the PBL and what that looks like. The understanding of what that looks like. The growing that we had to do from the beginning, even with Crystal, of what PBL was going to look like, how ELAR was going to connect in a STEM school, and how we were going to make that work was really important. I think the other thing is to be really open and honestly always looking to see where we need to grow and where we can add and what I'm always thinking, okay, ooh, there's a hole there. Oh, we might try this. This would be good. We even have a research project going on with students who are going to be researching the validity of this work. And they're creating the work, the research themselves, and they actually have the mindset that not only does my position and this program help us, it helps them, and it's a trickle down to it.
Yeah.
And they
And then
recognize
they
that.
stay in school.
When they recognize it, that was key.
Yeah, like that's one of the pillars that casts is student voice. And so when you give students the opportunity to tell you what they're really thinking and how they're really learning, everything starts to shift. I feel that's true for teachers too. If teachers have the opportunity to say, this is really working for me, or I still know how to do this, that things really start to shift. So I'm imagining that that's the kind of synergy that you're talking about, and the alignment of like, I'm still growing and it's okay if I'm still growing.
And we've had a couple of students who said, oh, this is not for me.
Yes.
And we give them a clear exit that says, you know what, that's okay. Because if it's not the right thing, this is the right time to say it.
Yeah.
And so that's been actually a.
And it's okay. It's okay to fail. It's okay to try a strategy. And there's behind us over here, there's a wall of strategies in this room that always live here. It's okay to try a strategy, something you might never have tried before, or maybe you tested it a little and you're trying it with students. I think of a couple of times Miss Z tried it.
I have one right now.
Tell it.
So last year, the other clinical teacher and I, we wanted to do, it was getting ready to be finals, I believe, or testing season, and I was like, oh, we should do a day where the students get to pick their own schedule, and it was a hot mess from the beginning. And I told Miss Riedel about it, and she was like, you got this. And it was a hot mess. I told Miss Shaeffer, and she was like, you got this. And I was like, okay, so day of,
It really wasn't a hot mess.
the attendance lady comes to me and she goes, do you have all the names of where the students are going to be so I can take attendance? And I was like, so I run to the employee break room and she's like, helping me type up names. And so we're typing names. I finally catch breath and then I'm like, okay, I have to go pass up these schedules outside. So I'm standing outside and here comes Miss Shaeffer. And I'm like, oh my God, she's going to shut me down. The kids are in a huge like huddle waiting for me, all the students waiting for me to give them their schedules for the day. And she's walking, I was like, she's going to shut it down. She's going to say, nope, this is a fail. We're shutting it down. She comes to me and she goes, okay, what do you need me to pass out? And I was like, oh, okay, yes, I need you to pass these out to these kids. And both of them were hands on deck. Instead of like, no, we got this, this is failing, let us take the reins from you. They were like, no, you got this, where do you need us? And I was like, ooh, that was not the response I was expecting. I was expecting both of them to come to me and be like, shut it down. Shut it down.
They were the boss. You clearly were the boss. We were not the boss. We needed to be boss.
And they let me, at the end of the day, I just like went home and I went straight to sleep. I was so exhausted. I was so drained. And there's even footage of me rushing with the podium, like trying to run everywhere, tripping and falling over the podium and breaking it, almost breaking my laptop. My ankles were all bruised up. And it was just the most stressful day. And not once did they say, okay, this is too much. You can't do this. They were like, where do you need us? How can we support you? What do you need us to do? That's the best support. That was the best support. And that was super encouraging because then from that point, I started a club with the kids where we did activities and did events for the school.
Held them here.
Yes. And we did all sorts of activities. And then this year, I brought academic decathlon to the school. And we just actually had our last competition last week. So before, when the students were running down the hallway screaming, it's because we got the results in. So
she's anxiously waiting.
I am, but without that year-long time I wouldn't have been able to build the relationships with those kids, or even have, I feel like any other principal, maybe, I don't know, might have been like, you can't do anything like that, you're not a teacher yet. That's kind of how I felt, and that's what I thought was gonna happen. But they both had my back the entire time. And I was like, thank God. Because I thought it was a hot mess. From the outside looking in, I was like, this is not it.
But imagine that same story from this perspective of a student, right? And having a student have the opportunity to see somebody learning and to see somebody with a productive struggle gives them permission to productively struggle with something.
Absolutely.
And then it also, I can only imagine that you support your students like that when they are productively struggling, where it's like, I know you're not there yet, but what do you need me to do?
100%.
Point me in the direction that you need support in, and that's the way I'm going to move.
Exactly.
So I think that it's really incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's also about that growth mindset. It's about
Yeah.
blows and grows.
Right.
It's never about you didn't do something right. It's always about this part of it went really, really well. Where do you think you can grow? And usually they can name it. And
I feel like that's true for all of us, right? I know when I mess up. I don't actually necessarily need somebody to tell me when I mess up. Like, I literally know when I have messed up.
So are we going to just can it, or are we going to say, what are we going to do to make it better?
Exactly.
Let's make it better.
Yeah.
And so that's really where we all come into the same, again, it goes back to that same language.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we have really exciting opportunities we're actually going to pilot the TPA. She's working on one right now.
Wait, explain it. What you said.
The TPA. Well,
Okay.
We have a colleague, her name is Dr. Moody, and she is assisting with the TPA at A&M. Not only that, the TPA is a portfolio-based assessment that's going to replace the PPR. The PPR is a test that teachers have to take before they graduate.
So that's for their actual teaching certification. They're
Yes.
taking this test, right?
And they have to create a portfolio, and they have to video themselves. And they have to write the lessons, and they have to write the assessments, and it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
It's a pretty heavy lift. It is a heavy lift.
Yes, thank you.
And it's going to make them superior teachers.
Sure.
So in partnership with that piece at A&M, I have become very involved with it because I see how it really piggybacks off everything that we're already doing here. I talked to Ms. Shaeffer about it. She said, let's do it. And I said, okay, I got to tell them.
I said, go ahead and tell them.
I got to tell them. And I said, we're going to do it. And they said, okay.
Take a deep breath here. Go.
There was one day where I know they were going to tell me no. But at any rate, we did a little forcing. Yes, so I'm so excited that you're going to do it. So they are, and it's where Texas is going. I'm sure of it. And we are super excited about their work that they're doing, and it's so nice that they're here at CASTEM being the pilot.
Yeah.
So that's just another add-on.
That's really exciting and brave.
That's
brave. I mean, I feel like teaching in general is an act of bravery.
Yeah.
Every day. You wake up and you have literally no idea what's going to happen during the day. So I do applaud you showing up in that way.
Well, they don't just show up. Like this whole team right here, they don't just show up. They walk in, they say,
they're ready
every day. What do you need? How can I help? Julia will take over classroom if necessary. Whatever is necessary. Everybody that walks in the door.
There's some kids that need some assistance. I'm here.
It's all hands on deck,
we
whatever it takes. If I need to push a broom, I'm gonna push a broom. And Z wants to push a broom. Z, I'm not gonna let her push a broom. She's got too much work to do. But it's just all hands on deck, and that's always our mindset: is how can I help? How can I be supportive?
I think it's really important that you encourage that and that you acknowledge it and that you celebrate little wins and big wins along the way, because it's important for stamina. And teaching is an act of bravery, and it's also hard work.
It's a marathon.
It's a marathon. It really is.
That's a good point.
It's a marathon. You need the stamina. You've been here. You've been teaching 11 years.
Yes, and I've been here for 4, so I feel like I've seen all the things. But everyone's excited in the summer, right? We have our summer bridge. We bring in freshmen. We do our PBL planning, our curriculum planning. So we're already kind of getting warmed up to go with that marathon metaphor. In the summer, So when we get started in the fall, you know, we already have the expectations for what needs to get done. I don't know of any staff member that is just sitting back, letting everybody else handle it. I think a part of the synergy, everybody on this campus is a go-getter. Everyone has that growth mindset, right? When PBL didn't really work the first time, we reworked it. We made it work. We reflect on what went right, what didn't go right. What did kids like about it, right? What is it about PBL that the students want? They get to choose their topic. So I think that's really important, and it helps keep us going, right? We're not doing the same thing every year. We're not getting bored with what we do. I think that's part of what gives us our different energy, because we're able to keep growing. We're not stagnant. And as our students keep growing, you know, we're getting ready to say goodbye to our first seniors. And they've been here from the start. They invested in this experiment, and I think they've gotten the best education that Southwest schools has to offer with, you know, pushing that PBL model that we do. I think any kid can go up and explain what we do and truly feel passionate about the experience that they've got.
And they'll wow you with what they know because of people like her and them who make that happen.
She's really encouraging. I'm going to go back to what I said at the top, which is like, it's a hard time right now for education, the industry of education, and I feel like the media and the stories that we hear most often they can kind of be steeped in doom and gloom, you know. And although I acknowledge like that things are hard sometimes, it's like you said, sometimes they're hard, but we're go-getters and we care immensely about what's happening in the lives of the students that we're in front of every day. And so I want to leave tonight with this question. It's like, what do you wish everybody knew? What's the one thing you wish every single person knew and understood about education, the field of education?
I think for me, it's at the end, it's all worth it. And if you're a people person, I'm a people person. I worked in a cubicle before and I absolutely hated it. Could never do it again. Could never be in a cubicle. I'm sorry. But I'm a people person, and the kids, the relationships I built with them, how much they're invested in my own life. I came back from Christmas break and they were like, "Miss, I heard you got engaged. Can you show us the ring?" As soon as I walked the door, I'm like, wait, can I get in before I show you guys anything? Can I walk in the door first? That at the end of the day makes it all worth it. And the day that it's not enough for me anymore is the day that I leave, and I don't see that like in the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So.
Yay.
I love that answer. I think mine aligns pretty similar to that. I feel like it's hard. What initially comes to mind is that I want people to know it's hard. It's hard work to be a teacher, to be in here day in and day out with so many people. There's so many people. But I think, you know, I think about the pandemic and being online and my own kids in our community, let alone, our, you know, peers, and everybody's struggling. And when it's hard, you know, I can very easily just look at the joyful moments, you know, and when I love working with the whole student, right? Social emotional learning, when we're in music club and these kids are jamming, they haven't, you know, after COVID, pandemic, distancing, and they're just in a room together making music, or esports, and they're logging in and they're chatting away. And these are students they don't make a peep all day in school. And then suddenly they won't stop talking and they're blooming, and I'm just in the corner like witnessing and loving it. Like it makes, like you said, it makes it all worth it. The hard days are gonna be hard, but that's with any job, anywhere in the world, anything you can do. So it's totally worth it.
That's really complex.
I'm ready.
Well, mine is about relationships and the thrill of challenge. Taking all the puzzle pieces of things that I have learned and hopefully being able to share them to make a better place. But most definitely the challenge, not a challenge that you can't overcome,
right?
But a challenge that I can help make a better place and feel good about what I have to contribute, and know that I always want to learn more. I'm learning when the pandemic came, it was like, okay, how do I put them in a breakout room? Okay, and then I learned they were saying, you're on mute, and then they would say, I forgot how. Remember Miss Riedel when we said what button? And learning together and that aspect was actually pretty. I was really grateful for.
Yeah.
But again, it's a challenging, complex world. There can be times in education where you just want to say, I'm out, because it can be. Because there's so many things to do, because you have to have so many hands and so many pies, and remember all of these things, and the strategies. And in the end, I think it's about making and changing the world.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds really like cliche, and that's what we have to do, because that's where our kids are, and they're changing our world faster than we can keep up with them. So we're doing our best to keep there, to stay there.
Sure. For sure. I'll say that. I don't think anybody truly understands how exhausting it is.
Yes.
And how we can function so well being so tired. But like everybody said, it's worth it.
It's energy bust.
When I think about the kids have been putting together the yearbook, I'm also the yearbook sponsor. So every year our yearbook just gets better, and it's full of memories. And I look at it, I was like, oh my God, remember? Look how little you were. Like your first PBL, you were so scared. And now they're having like, oh my gosh, the PBL now, they're capstone, and they're the experts in their topic. And seeing that and honing in on those moments, knowing that we are making a difference, I think that's what keeps us going. Like if we're exhausted, that's what's filling our tank, and we're gonna come back the next day.
There was a student here that there's a couple of students here that I was fortunate enough to be their principal when I was a principal. And now they actually serve on my research committee. And I remember them as sixth graders, and one has just blossomed like it's amazing. And I wish I could have a photo of then and now, and the actions of then and now, because it's just been that. Now I do have goosebumps.
Yeah.
So, yes. I was just thinking of that when you mentioned that.
I'm gonna let you answer. I promise. But just thinking about what everybody's already said, it reminds me of one of my favorite books. It's called It Won't Be Easy, and it's a memoir of a fourth grade teacher. And the things that he says is that the best thing about teaching is that it matters. And I feel like that deep in my soul. Like I want to do work that matters, whatever the work is that I'm doing. I want to do work that matters. And the hardest thing about teaching is that it matters every single day, which is why it does get exhausting at sometimes, but it is worth it. And that to me is like the number one thing that I wish people really understood and could hold on to, is that the work that we're doing matters. It matters so much. So sorry,
You're absolutely right. So I think what's important is that the world knows that every educator that chooses to come to work every single day and serves kids is an expert.
Yeah,
they chose to grow their expertise. Our team has a ton of master's degrees, doctoral degrees in progress. They are experts in their field. They're experts at loving kids through their hard times, loving kids through their celebrations, supporting kids to grow. That is what they are exceptionally good at. And there is no way on any day that any teacher would choose to sit in an office and not be in school and not serve kids. They can't, they won't even allow themselves to do it. So I want the world to know that they choose to come in every day. They choose to come into a building with over 200 plus kids who are here and ready to be taught, ready to be cultivated, ready to be grown, and to grow us as well. And that's the beauty of education. I know that high school for parents, because as a high school parent myself, I have a senior and a freshman, there's a veil around high school. You don't interact as much when your kids go to high school because they don't need you as much. We don't believe that to be true. We need parents to be our partners, and we need them here, and we want to pull the veil back and be partners with our community, with our corporate partners, with our parents and our kids, and we have to be. So what I hope the world hears is that regardless of how much you're at school with your child, we are always a partner to you, and we are experts in our field, ready to help support you in the best way to support children. And every day is going to be about that. Kids are at the center of every decision. And Julie and I say this all the time, but if the decision we're talking about isn't what's good for kids, it's not the decision we're going to make, ever. And that's every single day. So those of y'all nerds out there that are like us, that like to talk about curriculum and Bloom's taxonomy, like teachers are in Create 100% of the
Oh, I
time they're
agree.
in the classroom.
Yeah, we're
So on
creative
fire.
geniuses. We really are. I mean, you have to be a creative genius
Yes.
to be in the field of education because things change and you're not teaching the same set of kids every year. So it's
Never
all
or
even class periods.
puzzle pieces that don't fit, and we're trying to make them go together.
You make them beautiful.
Well, I just want to say thank you. Thanks, Julie, for partnering with CAST. First of all, I do think this is bigger than prepping teachers. It's attracting teachers too, and it's keeping them engaged. And I think that it's smart. It's just smart to extend the runway into the field because I think you have to be serious about it when you're in it.
Analogy. I'm gonna use
You have to be
extend the
serious.
runway into the field.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is a long interview and it works both ways. We're
Right.
interviewing, but you're interviewing too. Like, am I really going to want to do this? Because it's a lot, but it's super worth it. So thank you. I just wanted to say thank you.
And then you get jobs.
Yeah, exactly. And for the teachers, I'm with Ravae. Like, I have 2 teenagers. One just graduated, and he's a freshman in college, and the other is a junior in high school. And then I have a second grader. And having children really altered my perspective on teaching altogether. I loved the field of education before children. Having children of my own and watching them thrive and flourish in classrooms has made me appreciate teachers in a whole new light. They are my pride and joy, and I willingly give them to their teachers. And their teachers take really good care of them. And so, like, thank you for doing the work you're doing. And I know that my own children's lives are better because of their teachers. And so I know that's true for all of your students. So thank you, and thank you for doing it for CAST. We absolutely love you. We love the way that you are thinking and the way that you are strategizing and the way that you are willing to stay learners. I think that's really important. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you for leading this team. I've been a principal. It's hard work.
It is very hard work.
It's very hard work, and there's usually only one of you on a campus. And that's an entirely different act of bravery. So thank you. And thanks for doing it for CAST.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Bye, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Bye.